You tapping into Water Guy TV and Trevor Jackson TV. We appreciate your conversation. What's your take on the conversation at hand?
Yeah, so my take is that I think we forget there's been a targeted campaign against every generation of Black people in this country going back since we got here. And so you can look at any generation of our people, like you can go back to prison industrial complex, you can go back to Jim Crow, you can go back to the time of Reconstruction, enslavement, and anytime we built anything or had anything, we're going to poison your hogs, we're going to poison your cows. My family is from Arkansas, and we went through 2 massacres in my family, 1904, St. Charles, Arkansas, 1920, Maine, Arkansas massacre. One, we were trying to get union rights. The other one, we were trying to get waited on in stores. But this happened in every community. And when we had something, i.e. the lottery system, state took that and they brought in, illegal drugs, let the N-words have their drugs and flooded our communities. And then, like Claude Anderson said, put the highways in and completely decimated the community by changing the traffic pattern. And so it's not a simple thing that they do. Anytime any one of us gets up, name one celebrity that we know who does not get attacked in the media by us and by other people. I can't think of one.
Right.
And I think I'm almost done. I think the positive thing is that when I look at us, every single thing in this country that has been done by us. You can go to Blue Jeans and you can talk about indigo dye and you can talk about mud cloth. Yeah. You can look at the Fulanis and, my great grandfather was actually enslaved and born in 1864. Sounds like a long time ago. Was older when he had my grandmother. My grandmother's grandmother was in the Trail of Tears in 1830. It's not been that long ago. But when you think about cowboy culture, you think about fashion, there is no anything in this country without us. Our imprint is on everything. And you look at Tennessee whiskey, that ain't no Tennessee whiskey. That's Uncle Nearest Green's whiskey.
Right.
Process. You look at Tennessee hot chicken, there's a Black woman who is alive today, and every time I see Tennessee stamped on something, it pisses me off. Because I know that ain't got nothing to do with Tennessee. That's that Black woman's recipe that everybody's eating on. Yeah. And so just about everything in this culture, if you look long enough, you're going to find us right there. And so what happens is they stole us. So, they don't have a difficult time stealing everything we've done and crediting themselves for it. You can't even go in a barbershop anymore without seeing everybody got the same Black haircut. Everybody got the same fit. Everybody got, but we can't have nothing. Yeah. Look up chitlins. I don't eat chitlins, but look up chitlins. We're not even there though. But we're not even there. I've looked for places where we exist and we don't exist with respect to owning any part of our culture.
I appreciate you. Can I ask you a few questions? And you don't have to rush out the phone. I like that you know your history, you're educated. We popularize things and then they monetize the things. Now, I want to ask you, what do you think or what do you feel we could do to protect the things that we create and popularize?
Gatekeeping only works to like a small degree, because even with this whole Fat Joe situation, when you talk about gatekeeping, it's always some of us, some handkerchief head Negroes sitting there saying, no, it's okay, pushing diversity, pushing all of it. But who's pushing any of those things, opening up anything for us? Yeah. No, we give it away because we always have somebody in our culture, 1 or 2 or 3 out of 10 or 20, who's always saying, no, because maybe they weren't taught by their family who they come from, but they feel like they have to prove that they're good enough. How can we create everything in this country? And not even mention music, every single form of music around the world, darn near, has been created by us. And so everywhere you go, it's like, dang, that's us, handshake. I can't look for myself in anything without seeing everything that we've done invade. And it's like, well, dang, can we do anything? No. So when we try to gatekeep, we're going to have to tell those people to shut the F up and like, let him cook, let her cook, because why can't we own any of our stuff? Why can't we have anything that is ours specifically? Even Mayel, like even when you start to get into business practices, Black women came up with the honeypot. What did they do? They made it impossible for the Black woman to get in and have her products transported in the proper way. So she had to sell. Same with Mayel. They come in, they control these systems, and therefore they make it easier for us to sell because they make it impossible for us to do business. Because they can't look at us. They can't stomach us owning anything. They can't stomach us, just like back, you know, when we got here, can't stomach us having a nice dress, can't stomach us having a nice anything. And so as long as they control it, it can be Black led, but it cannot be Black owned.
Right. Gotcha. Listen, you said some big things here. I just got one question for you. We talk a lot on my channel. I talk a lot about the Boule and certain organizations that I feel is incentivized to keep the Black community in a certain space. How do you feel about organizations that's out there to keep us dysfunction? A lot of people, I read somebody in the comment section saying, oh, y'all just, you know, Black people just don't want to take up, you know, ownership for things. But how do you feel about the structure of, like, you know, like the Masons and the sororities and the fraternities? They never really did anything for us. What's your take on that?
I mean, I joined the sorority, so I will say that, disclaimer. And I will say that we all attack whatever the sororities and fraternities on predominantly white campuses are put in place, I think, to make us have a place to go, a place to exist where we can do us, right? That's why I joined there. And the sororities that I'm in, like most of them do a lot of scholarship and they try. I mean, I can understand how people can have a certain perspective, but when you go into these organizations, you can really see these organizations trying. I mean, there is an element of elitism in these organizations, but we've been trying to prove that we're human since we got here, which we need to stop trying, right? We need, you know, trying to prove that we're as good as. Yeah. But I think that, you know, those organizations to a large degree started and continue for those reasons. And like, you're never alone any place almost on the planet when you're a member. My uncle, who was an older dude who passed away, he was a Mason. We were very proud of that because it took a certain amount of scholarship for him to do that. Right. And so he stepped up, wanted to learn. I had an uncle who was in like, who was in in Uganda with Idi Amin, working with him, getting monies, like millions of dollars. And my uncle helped. Idi Amin gave him millions of dollars to help fund civil rights organizations in this country. We only hear Idi Amin was a terrible person. Yes, there's an element of him that was terrible. And he also said that this organization that my uncle worked with was the only one that was really trying to do things. But it's hard because my uncle has an FBI file. Anytime we do anything, we're chased down and hunted like dogs to keep us from getting into any other higher position, even at work. We all know that we're usually overqualified and we end up training our replacement.
That's facts.
That's the way it is because they don't want to look at us in a position of power because they've been taught. I don't know if how you feel about Ta-Nehisi Coates. He's one of my favorites, but you know, his writings on the first white president, Jim Crow, all of these things inform us about like how these systems are set up. They are set up to keep us in a position that is at their feet. And so, it is insulting for us to have an American Express. It is insulting for us to drive certain cars. It is insulting for us to be in a position of leadership. And so they'll get us fired. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, they over police us. I tell my kid, you have almost 0%. I live in the Bay. You have almost 0% margin for error, even in the Bay.